Hi, and welcome to Aging Undone. I'm Philip Goff, your host. Okay, what we're going to be talking about here, we're actually in the Fat Undone series. And in particularly, we're into the belly fat section of that series. And there are 6 parts to that section. And we're going to be looking at number 1 tonight. So this is belly fat section of the Fat Undone series, and this is part 1 of 6. All right, so what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at why are we getting belly fat and what is it, and how can we start to eliminate it, and why does that work? Okay, so I want to really give you a little bit of a basic understanding so you can start to really get a clear view of what's happening, and then I'm going to give you some real life technique that I use with my clients and I use on myself to actually start changing that fat deposit that you just can't make a difference with. That's what this is for. This is actually for people who have done everything. They've dieted, they've exercised, they've tried everything they can, and they've had either no success or very little success. This is the program that's going to help to get you through that barrier. What is stopping you is probably the fascial tissue. Now, fascial tissue, or the idea of fascia, is a very large concept with a lot of pieces. Now, I'm not going to get into that. That could be a whole, I could do a course on fascia just teaching you why this stuff is so powerful in the body. But if you want to know more, you can find tons on the internet. There's tons of information on fascia, and there's information that's over here on the negative side saying it's nothing, and there's information over here on the positive side saying it's everything. It's probably somewhere in between, but truthfully, for me, I use this with my clients and with myself all the time, and I see amazing changes and results. So that's why I'm teaching you this. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. So, and I should let you know that I suffered from belly fat. I did have serious issues with belly fat for about 20 years. I struggled, couldn't get rid of it. I had digestive issues, it didn't help. I had postural issues, that didn't help. There's all kinds of different reasons for why I was having a very difficult time eliminating fat. But the point is, I just couldn't get rid of it. I dieted, I exercised, I did it all. I bought the top training manuals, I got the top trainers in the gyms, I did it all. Nothing changed. Thankfully, I finally started treating myself, watching all my clients for years get these great results and transform themselves, and it was all wonderful, and I never thought to really bring it to myself, and then finally I did. Now, I'm transformed, and that's what I want to bring to you. I want to help you to transform. I want to empower you so that you can transform. So what is belly fat, or what are we talking about here? So we're talking about really 2 different areas that's stored. The deep visceral fat that's around the organs, and the superficial layer of fat that's just basically underneath the skin and the top layer of tissue. Okay? Both these fats can be very difficult to get rid of. Now, there's lots of reasons for why we get fat, but once we are fat and we've got this fat in place, if we are constantly in this inflamed state, so there can be a lot of reasons for why inflammation is occurring. Now, what is inflammation? Inflammation just means your immune system. Your immune system's cast off, that's the inflammation. And essentially, it is something in your body, something in you is causing your immune system to have to respond in an intense way. So if we have white body fat, for whatever reason, in my case, it probably was because I had a bad digestive system, I wasn't processing my food properly, and I was getting a lot of waste products that were storing up, and that waste products had to be encapsulated, okay? What do I mean by that? What I mean is that if I have too much white body fat and it's just sitting there, one of the effects of that, and this was a research study done just recently, it showed that actually if you have too much white body fat, you have pro-inflammatory signals, meaning your inflammation is going to go up. Your immune system is going to be activated because of just being fat. So that's where fascia comes in. Like I said, fascia is a big concept, so let's just talk about it. You can do the research to figure out exactly what it means. But fascia comes in, it's monitoring what's happening, and encapsulates this fat because there's toxins, waste products, and because it's giving pro-inflammatory signals in order to try and minimize your inflammation signals that are happening in your body, which can create breakdown of your tissues and cause you other health issues. It's going to start to encapsulate it. It's just like wrapping saran wrap around it, or you have a bunch of waste products or garbage on the road, and you don't want anything to be smelled, so you build a huge bunker over it so it can't be smelled and it can't leak. Well, that's great, but then when you want to release it or get rid of it, you can't. There's this huge bunker in your way. That's what the fascia is doing, and it's doing it for you, not against you, for you. But once it's there, it's plastic in nature, it doesn't know to go away, and we have to give it a signal to go away. That's why we're holding onto this fat. That's why it's so difficult to get rid of. And this happens a lot with aging, and there's lots of reasons why. We're going to get into those reasons, like I said, in other parts of this section. But in this part one, it's just understanding there's something blocking our ability to be able to get rid of that fat. All right, so those encapsulations or bunkers, which are these fascial adhesions, now we need to be able to target those and eliminate them. That's where fascial self-release comes in. What's fascial self-release? That's the method I'm talking about. That's what I used on myself, what I use with my clients. We basically manipulate that fascial tissue to start sending signals in to break up those bunkers and to get access to that fat so that we can eliminate it. I mean, you first have to balance out the body, you have to open up the drainage zones, make sure posturing is changing, a lot of different things you're going to do, and I'm going to give you those hints and tips as we go. But simply put, you really want to make sure that you are breaking down those encapsulations so that the fat can get out of the body. So I'm going to be teaching you this method called fascial self-release, where you're going to be able to manipulate that tissue, the fascia, and it's going to open up those bunkers and start to let go of that actual fat that's stored there. And very quickly, your body's going to change. And the other side of this is that once we start to change those signals to those cells, we're opening up and getting rid of the fat that's there, we're actually sending a signal into the cells for them to grow differently in the future. Okay, let's get started. Let's go out and get you trying one of these methods right now. So the first method you're going to do, you're going to go to the playlist, and you go to the playlist for fascial self-release, and you're going to pick out the one on the vertical fascial self-release for the abdomen. All right, that's the first one for this series that you're going to want to do. And once you finish that, you're going to go to the intentional movement playlist, and you're going to pick out the deep core intentional movement video. Okay, so intentional movement for the deep core, transversus abdominis, and you're going to watch that. All right, these two things together are going to start to transform your life and start to get you forward. Your first tip and trick, though, for what you need to do to start to help your body go forward is water intake. I know you heard tons about water, but water is key. And you need at least 2.5 liters of water a day just for regular metabolic activity in your body. And when you're doing this kind of work, you should have about 3. So start upping your intake of water. I know a lot of people don't drink a lot of water. Even adding a couple of glasses is going to help. And then build yourself up to where you are getting those 3 liters a day. I guarantee you, that's going to help you. It's going to help you flush out that tissue, and it's going to help your body actually allow for that fat to be processed and eliminated. Okay, let's get started. So go right now, and you can watch the fascial self-release. You want to do the very first one. So that's the vertical fascial self-release for the abdomen, and then the intentional movement, deep core, transversus abdominis. Good luck.